I thought the trip might lose its magic the third time around, especially with the pandemic. But it didn't. There are still these moments. I can focus on what's happening right before my eyes. My worries disappear. Time feels as if it slows down. It's perfect. Even if just for a second.
You want the dog in the shot too? Come here, Kimmy.
Welcome to our living room. We're going to tell you about our vacation. So this is the third road trip. Our first road trip.
February of 2017, we had jokingly found a music festival in
Oh yeah.
Tucson, Arizona.
Called Jim and Jam. Then in 2019, we went on road trip 2, driving down from Washington State to California.
Yes.
But we started with the music festival.
Correct.
Road trip 3, COVID. So we planned a socially distanced vacation.
But with that void kind of ever present, it was important for us to try to find additional things to work into the road trip to making it meaningful. Because it was really trying to find a way to put a spark of adventure and joy in a year where that's been really tough to find. And on top of it, try to push that towards people that we care about.
My brother had never been really out to the western states at all.
Cue Nathan Shannon.
So we left on a Thursday and took an early flight out to Denver. I got to watch the sunrise in the plane, which was pretty cool.
It was made cooler by the fact that Nathan has not flown a lot, so this is all pretty new to him.
Worth noting that Lauren made itineraries for every day.
We did have itineraries for every day.
Yeah, they're pretty amazing. You're gonna see a shot of one later in the video. But get out. So Nathan and Shannon had no idea what they were doing until each day.
Nathan didn't know where we were going, I think, until the day before.
Yeah.
So these itineraries kind of had gaps where they had previously answered these cryptic questions that we had asked them.
That we texted them at like midnight every night.
Which they had unknowingly planned portions of the trip, and this was the reveal of what they had planned.
But about a week before, I called this Voodoo Donuts place and made like a $40 donut order that was epic.
We had no idea what we were getting into.
We hit up a brewery and then went to the hot springs. These are naturally fed hot springs, which is pretty cool. Yeah, and the water is supposed to be good for your skin, have minerals and whatnot. Although it kind of dried us out, I think.
It did. It was very pretty though. It's got fiddle leaf fig trees and banana trees and basically all the tropical everything that you could ask for in a very cold Colorado.
Yeah, it was nice to take a warm swim during the winter time.
It was our first time in a hot springs like that.
Yeah. We then went to Colorado Sake Company, which we learned is one of 11 international sake houses that meet some sort of standard of in-house sake quality. Unsure, but this nice Australian lady was the owner, and she took good care of us. We accidentally ordered way too much sake.
Get a half pour.
Yeah, do the half tasting if you go. The escape room here was bartender themed.
Yes.
After we had just been at the bar. And turns out we smashed it. We got a record.
We did, we got a record.
Which was awesome. It's always nervous going into an escape room with Nathan because
Nathan's just the legend of escape rooms.
Because I know that Nathan's mood for the next 24 hours will be based nearly solely on if we escape the room or not. We stayed at a cute Airbnb. We did a lot of Airbnbs. We thought that might be
We did.
a little safer. We went to Garden of the Gods, which Lauren's been to 3 times now. This was my 2nd time. Still pretty glorious.
We took the middle trail through the park when we were there. It basically shows off all of the rock features throughout the park. It's a fairly easy hike in my opinion.
Yeah, you gotta hike around. It's not very much hiking, but it's cool to get up there.
This is one of those parks that the trails are more concise. As in, there are a lot of parks that we went to, and you'll see on here, that kind of allow you to wander off trail. It's more encouraged because there are really no trails there, but this one is very specific about kind of the places that you can be. But it was fun. Nathan and Shannon had never been here, of course. So it was kind of fun to get goofy and run around.
Yeah, it's nice to stretch the legs.
Garden of the Gods is good though for things like rock climbing. So they issue climbing permits and have different sections of the park that are kind of in place specifically to just allow you to scramble.
You can actually see Pikes Peak from Garden of the Gods, which is pretty cool because we headed there next. I feel like there's a lot of shots of Shannon approving the food.
There are a lot of shots of Shannon approving food.
This is me and Lauren's second attempt at Pikes Peak. On road trip 1, we tried to go up, and there was a road closure because of the weather, which I guess happens quite frequently. That makes sense.
After driving up it, I completely understand.
Yeah, you would not want to drive up it with too much snow on the road because there's some exposure.
As per tradition, Zach drove up and I drove down.
Yep. Safer that way.
What?
The aggressive driver drives up and the safer driver drives down. You don't want anyone going too fast on the way down.
So there were only 2 hangups on our way to Pikes Peak, one of which, of course, was the construction at the top, which I'm sure after it's done, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
But you won't see any footage from up top because it's definitely a construction site currently.
Yeah. That should be done in a year or 2, really. Yeah.
But the second was altitude sickness. So
Oh, I think it's like 14,000 some feet, right? Or is it just under that? I can't remember. But it's high enough that you might get lightheaded. Yeah, I think Nathan was the only one that really got lightheaded. And as we came down, he got better, so.
that's true. You could kind of see for miles. I mean, it was gorgeous.
Yeah, that was special. So we hopped out of the car for a little bit and kind of kept falling into these little pockets of snow, which was hilarious because it's like kind of icy on top, but then snowy beneath. So if you break through that ice, then you'll fall like a foot into it, which was hilarious.
Oh, then we stopped and kind of scrambled up the, I think it's actually called the Boulder Scramble Trail.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a tiny trail off to the side. So we went up that, of course, took some more goofy photos, watched the sun set a little bit more, and determined that we needed to head out.
Yeah, and some dinner.
This spot is unique because that is where we have our classic car photo.
Yeah, my old Volkswagen on road trip 1. It was a beast.
Colorado Springs actually has several natural springs in the area. So they actually have a kind of a walking trail that connects you to several of these springs where you can see the natural spring water. And some of them are carbonated.
This was maybe the slightest bit carbonated.
And then the next day we were headed towards Alamosa to rent sandboards and go to Great Sand Dune National Park.
Yeah, you can actually sandboard on the dunes. Naturally, as soon as we got in the sand dunes, we realized we forgot the board wax and had to walk back to the car. But then we hiked back. It's really interesting how big the dunes are, but you don't realize how big they are. Like when you see somebody on the dunes, they are like a black speck in infinity. And then you walk like a mile, and they're still like an ant. And you just keep walking and walking and walking. So we'd actually hiked like 9 miles that day.
We hiked 9 miles. We had, I can't remember what our elevation gain was.
Like a couple thousand feet of elevation change, I think.
But either way, it was exhausting. We all ended up ditching our shoes because sand was everywhere. And we decided to take the most direct route up the dunes in hopes of saving time, which completely backfired.
Yeah, if you're going for speed hiking up a sand dune, we actually learned that you should do like switchbacks up. Well, not even the steepest part. Just go to the most shallow uphill spot you can. Otherwise, the sand dunes will turn into a treadmill, which is absolutely what happened to us. And it's crazy how much energy you can use on going up a short, steep sandy hill. We kind of tested the board as we went up on smaller hills. I think we all picked it up pretty quick.
We did. Nathan is really the only one that did board sports previous to this, so of course.
Yeah, Nathan was the rock star.
Yeah.
My difficulty was trying to keep the board straight. Maybe I leaned back too much, but I kept just twisting. That's the thing I couldn't get a hang of. I'd say it's a lot like snowboarding, yeah?
I've never been snowboarding. This is the first time I've ever done a board.
It felt a lot like snowboarding to me. Because I think that was my issue with snowboarding as well, is that I kept getting turned around. We drive way too long without food and then stopped at a winery. Tried a sip of wine and then, is this fast food? I don't even know what you call it.
I think it is fast food.
El Parasol? Parasol, is that how you say it? I don't know. It was super good.
Yeah, they made Navajo bread, I think is what they call it. It's very good.
Yeah, we were starved, but it definitely hit the spot.
And our last day was Albuquerque, and
Well, last day with Nathan Shannon. So.
yeah. I'm glad that we didn't actually show any of these itineraries because that one was just a straight lie. Essentially, everything in Albuquerque was closed.
Yeah, Albuquerque disappointed us a bit.
Our main thing was trying to go and see the musical road that no longer exists.
Yeah, they paved over the Singing Road.
Yeah, that was disappointing.
And then Lauren did what we do best, drive insane distances.
That's true. Yep, so the first place we stopped was El Malpais. We went specifically for La Ventura Arch.
So if you route to the visitor center, then you have to drive like another hour?
Hour and a half.
40 minutes?
It's like almost.
Well, hour and a half round trip, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, careful with that. After that, we pretty much just drove into the night and got a little Airbnb and then went to Monument Valley. The park itself is closed, but you can really see most of it from the road.
We did not get out of the car much.
Forrest Gump Point. It's actually called Forrest Gump Point, at least on road trippers. Yeah, this is the classic, I don't know if it's entrance or exit really, depending on which way you're going, to Monument Valley.
Then we headed to Page.
There was some really good art all along the Utah-Arizona border. It was kind of a reminder of how hard Navajo Nation was hit back then. It was cool to see, but also, you know, you wish it was different. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, there you go. You can see him standing directly in front of Horseshoe Bend.
Turns out this day was fried chicken day as well. We got fried chicken twice.
Yes, we accidentally had themed days.
I gotta say, Champs chicken? Champs chicken was actually really good. We had it like 7 in the morning at Monument Valley and ate in the car because that's what we do. The entrance into Zion was beautiful because it was like, it was sunset when we drove in. Oh man, it might be my new favorite national park.
I don't blame you.
Previously Grand Canyon, this might be my new favorite.
Yeah, Zion's amazing. Because it was winter, we somehow, again, just got extremely lucky. There wasn't bad weather, the hiking was gorgeous, and thankfully there was really almost no one there.
Yeah, kind of worked out in favor in a weird way. Out west they had mule deer. They look like deer except they have big ears. That's really like the only difference.
Their tails are a bit different.
Their tails, okay. So we did 3 hikes in Zion. We did Canyon Overlook, and then Observation Point, and then Lauren's pointing down to Angel's Landing there, which was the 3rd one we attempted. So this is kind of going around the ridge of Angel's Landing. This was my test of my fear of heights that we do every road trip. The first road trip, it was the Grand Canyon. The second road trip, we went skydiving. And this was the 3rd. So at about this point, there's a lot of exposure to your right, but where that guy just walked up, the exposure opens up on your left as well. and I completely freaked out.
You did fine. It was fine.
I freaked out a lot. And then I realized my shoes weren't that grippy. And we had to turn around. Lauren could have easily done it, but if you're scared of heights, then it is very real.
You'll find out really fast if you can do it.
Yeah.
It won't take long. You likely are not going to get trapped too far out to get back.
Yeah.
If you're truly scared of heights, I don't think it'll take
The hike up to that point, I would say, is short but strenuous.
It was a great hike.
Yeah.
It was good exercise.
Good exercise. So we ended the day with 13 miles of hiking, which was pretty cool.
Accidentally. We did not plan to do 13 miles of hiking that day.
We did not. We just kept going. We got a shower midday. We recharged. And then we drove to Vegas just to sleep this night.
Mm-hmm.
Stayed at Circus Circus. You got anything to say about Circus Circus?
No.
Circus Circus was probably a cool hotel at some point.
Circus Circus has a great entrance for Instagram.
Yeah, the lights are very cool.
I was just trying to be nice to Circus Circus.
I'm gonna give him a thumbs down. The wall outlet was a huge electrical hazard.
Yeah, well, it was pretty bad. Also, it was kind of on the edge near the ghetto.
No.
Circus Circus?
Yeah, it looked over the ghetto. I see what you're saying.
Yes.
Electrolyte beverage, yeah. We decided we should be sponsored by
Electrolyte.
I don't know how to pronounce it, but I hope it's Electrolyte. I hope so badly it's Electrolyte, because that would be hilarious. Especially considering that we used one of the Electrolyte bottles to eventually house the leftover sake.
This one was particularly difficult.
Yeah, we were pretty worried about taking the rental vehicle so far off-road into...
Well, it wasn't off-road. They looked like roads. To clarify.
Yeah, definitely not off-road. We definitely wouldn't have took the rental car off-road. I try to make it a point to always pick up trash. One piece of trash as I leave wherever we are. I don't know why people throw trash out there. Come on, guys. But, yeah, feels good.
So the Goldwell Art Museum actually started with the first image.
Oh my god.
What?
Yeah, like that tells them anything.
I wasn't done.
You said it like 3 times. Here's Death Valley. It's a national park in California. So Corkscrew Peak, you can see into Badwater Basin from Corkscrew Peak, from the base of it where we were. We didn't get very far out before sunset, unfortunately. But it still turned out to be beautiful. Really cool spot. And then we woke up for sunrise on Badwater Basin.
So Death Valley, I think, is probably if it is not my favorite, it is my second favorite national park in the US. Just because of the strange diversity. I mean, it's not like normal diversity where you're seeing different trees and things like that, but
Wasn't diversity an old wooden ship?
What?
It's an Anchorman joke.
Oh. The different...
Rocks and sand and...
Yeah, it's
It's
amazing.
crazy how much it varies just even a mile apart. So that little white point up there is where sea level would be, which is pretty cool. You are literally below sea level.
So Artist Palette is one of those places that's supposed to be the most beautiful after a rain. So we weren't really going there expecting too much out of it. We were kind of expecting it to be dull, but I think it was gorgeous.
It was still really cool. The camera doesn't really do it justice.
Seeing all of the different colored rocks streaked through what feels like a slot canyon is amazing.
This is Zabriskie Point. Pretty cool little hiking trails around there. It just looks unreal. So we went to see the pupfish, only to realize you can't actually see the pupfish from Devil's Hole, which is good for the pupfish, of course.
Yeah, my goal is to get in there.
Learn to scuba. So I surprised Lauren with a helicopter tour. We got this really cool pilot named Justin, and I guess he was like the chillest guy.
He'd have to be.
This was one of 2 major helicopter tours places I could find. This one had smaller helicopters. It was like 3 people, I think. So I paid a little extra to get essentially a private tour, which was 2 people in this case rather than the 3. And then it was only a little extra to get the doors off, so I was like, well, why not? That's awesome. A good tip that I read online is that you want the better view of most of these helicopter tours of Vegas is on the left side, because for whatever reason they always fly counterclockwise around the city. Assumedly because there's, I guess, multiple helicopters up at once sometimes. Or maybe it's air traffic control stuff, flight patterns, don't know. But they were correct on that, so I put Lauren on the left side.
No, this was the last hike.
Yeah, we didn't take the rental car off-road at all to get there. This was it's like some black diamond hike we found.
It was Black Diamond?
I think it was a black diamond.
You didn't tell me.
I figured we'd get saucy and try a challenging one first. With it being wintertime, the days were kind of short though, so we got a little cut off. We figured we'll go back and hike
Max Point and Corkscrew Peak.
Exactly, yeah. Our social distance thing that we could do in Vegas was just kind of walk around the strip. We stayed at the Paris Hotel. They somehow have some link to the High Roller, which is, I don't even know what you call it. It's like a Ferris wheel, but it's enclosed. It was really cool. They actually cleaned the whole thing in between people going in there.
It was amazing. I mean, it was a fantastic setup.
It turned out to be awesome. And it kind of turned out to be the takeaway of the trip for me, and why I'm glad I traveled during COVID, even though it was tricky, because I can't imagine something like this happening again. We got these tickets on a whim from staying at this hotel, and then chose to go there because we knew that they was socially distanced, and got to share the view of the city in one of these things by ourselves. And it was awesome to like end the trip on that note. And then, yeah, woke up and
Scrambled.
and scrambled to the airport and flew back. Thanks for watching. That was a pretty lengthy one. It's the lengthiest video I've done.
We'll see you next time on the next episode.
Yeah. If you want to wave goodbye.